No, because it's even worse. This is like actually,
Oh, this is the makeout one.
yeah.
Yes. Come to daddy.
I'm really excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Let's just say
That is
that.
very much the kind of uh Spaniards have restored a classic piece of monastery art. Did you see that they did that again?
They did it again?
Yeah, I think it was a sculpture.
Monastery art restoration.
Spain.
Oh no, Spain. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Wow. Badly restored. Jesus. I mean, frankly, the same person did it. Is this like, is this meant to be a reference? Is this
I,
great
I
art
think
imitating
this
great
yeah
art?
this I think this might be a transgressive piece of street art. Actually, it's like the floodgates have opened.
Hey, we made it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
eventually, life finds a way.
Did you play No Man's Sky? That reminds me.
We played No Man's Sky right when it came out. You and
When it came out,
I,
oh, that's right. You were on that train because it was just like 4 years ago.
and I remember because you were the one who told me to watch the Jurassic Park
That's what it reminded me
video,
of. Bingo.
which was classic, right?
Pretty memorable. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you posted it in Slack and you were like, sound critical.
Wow, it's wild that that reminds me of Jurassic Park more than actually Jurassic Park at
No
this
Man's
point.
Sky reminds me of Jurassic Park.
Oh, just like when you say like life finds a way, I just think of that video instead of
Yes.
the movie. So I've been ruined is basically where I'm at.
That's okay.
Yeah. Happy Thursday. We did it. We're live.
Yep. We clawed our way into through OBS into Twitch.
Yeah. And I've got one broken 3D renderer here.
Fantastic. I like
Yeah.
your dog sunglasses, by the way. They're pretty good.
My dog sunglasses. Wait, are they dogs now?
No, they're. I just remember the picture of the dog and then the sunglasses coming down over his face.
Deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan that Zoom has this rudimentary AI that kind of figures out where your face is.
Oh my God, it's actually skewing it.
Yeah,
That's some 3D magic.
a little bit, but like not very well sometimes. It's okay.
You know what? I will take this. It's impressive to me. I choose to be impressed.
Excellent. Well, it will maybe drive me crazy, so I'll put the back on when I want to look cool.
Aw.
Fine. It is pretty cool.
I just peer pressured you.
Yeah, I'm very easily peer pressured sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're here. I noticed a thing. I just pulled this all down to get it running and started up in Chrome and got the same logs you got.
Okay.
And then I started up in Safari and I had to turn on the experimental WebGL too.
Oh, fancy.
I'm not sure, and maybe I'll turn on I'm not going to turn on WebGPU Sketch. But Safari gave me one error more than Chrome did, which is no precision specified for float.
That is very fancy. How do you specify precision for float?
I don't know, and also nothing in here is a float. So
Oh, is it a compilation error in the shader?
I believe it's one of the shaders. Yeah.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be off of multiplayer just for a little while. I'm
it's
excited
great.
to do graphics.
Me too. So, OpenGL, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
You know what? OpenGL is actually the best thing in 3D graphics.
Really?
If we were working on anything else, it would be worse. Well, actually, we don't have that many options. We can't do Direct 3D. I think Direct 3D is easier than OpenGL. But
Like Direct 3D is what everyone loves. Yeah.
yeah, but everyone's kind of going into oh, this web page is awesome. I love this. Look at that header at the top.
I know, right?
Yeah, and the language picker, I like it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so we do have to specify a precision, right?
Would this be for the vec2s
I think so. Maybe it's like
and the vec?
vec2f, something like that. I don't know. We'll see what the GLSL. What version of GLSL are we actually using in WebGL 2.0? I'm gonna look that up while you're
That's
also looking other stuff up.
a great question. Oh man, I'm on the same site with a different header.
WebGL 2.0 GLSL version. I love this like Unity, the game engine. They had like a Stack Overflow thing, and then someone asked a question, and there's just nothing, no responses, crickets.
Ouch.
Pretty harsh.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That really, really hurts.
WebGL 2.0 is based on OpenGL ES 3.0.
Okay.
I still have not found the GLSL dialect. How to determine WebGL and GLSL version?
I was also looking for the WebGL tutorial on MDN to see if their example matched this, because we used a different example, I think.
So GLSL, WebGL 2 supports both GLSL ES 1.0, which is what WebGL 1 is.
Okay.
And it supports GLSL ES 3.0. I think we might need to do some sort of fancy header.
Ah.
I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Or is it the case when we started this example? Where do we even get the? Was it a WebGL tutorial or was it OpenGL tutorial?
You're gonna have to check your Windows browser history.
Oh yeah.
Or wait, hang on.
Know.
Let me just pull up the stream from last week.
Are we watching us?
I'm just gonna try to figure out what web page you were looking at.
Okay.
But yeah, we are totally.
We can also scrutinize us. We can do a mystery science. We can do some ADR here.
Wouldn't that be delightful? Okay, creativeblock.com.
So it could have been that I was just looking at an OpenGL tutorial and not a WebGL tutorial.
I think you were looking at stuff in a WebGL context, but let's WebGL. See if we can get to that from here. Get started. Oh, I think you Googled WebGL draw square. Yep, there you go. That's the first result for that one.
Okay. This is starting to look familiar.
So, I mean, here I found your problem.
Okay.
So that's probably it.
That was like a full decade ago. What was I doing in July? I was working in the video game industry on July 25th, 2011. No, I had just moved to New York City. Gosh, that was 9 years ago.
Yeah, I was still in Pittsburgh at a design consultancy firm making websites for children's museums. It was pretty fun, actually.
That sounds pretty rad, actually.
It was really cool. Yeah.
What was the name again?
Bearded.
No.
Yeah.
Very, very aughts.
It was very odds. Yeah. That is true. Okay. Yeah. Great. So we've got this, but actually maybe we can do the MDN one instead.
I think that's a perfectly good suggestion.
I bet we're pretty close for what it's worth, but let's see. The shaders, we went over what our shaders were, and I just want to look at the source, which is extremely similar.
And yet we're getting compile errors. That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
You disappoint me. MDN.
Now could it be this?
The literals.
Yeah. Sure looks like we did it fine though.
Yeah, and we've got the splat in there. Or the splat is when we use one variable to take up two positions.
Does that splat in OpenGL? Is that the expectation?
I think so. That's my.
Okay.
You do a lot of like vector and matrix composition, which is why they like doing that stuff. Why was your web page gray there?
Why was my web page what?
It was a darker color at some point.
Bro, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm distracting the conversation.
Oh, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take out this uniform and take our fragment shader down a notch.
Great idea.
Yeah.
You can also get rid of the attribute as well. Although that might, yeah, you might need it.
Don't-
Yes, very good.
Do I not need the attribute? I
You
need the
do need the
attribute.
attribute. I was just saying you could make the same simplification, but then again, you're gonna have to comment out a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, but also if we don't have the attribute for vertex, doesn't everything get drawn at the same point?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, we need that one.
Okay.
I have the tiniest bit of WebGL or of just OpenGL knowledge and intuition. Thank goodness.
So rather than this being the blind leading the blind, it's the Doge sunglasses leading the. I don't know what I am in this analogy.
It's a really solid eyebrow raise with these things on.
It's really good. It's really good.
Excellent. Okay, this
You're risky business. You're sliding down the hardwood floor in your socks and tidy whities. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
tethered to the table, which really didn't make that smooth at all. All right, so our vertex shader. Let me just
Are we still getting the same complaints from the?
same complaint. Yeah.
So if
And-
you
and we
wouldn't
can
mind raising the window a little bit, your log is behind our beautiful mugs.
Yeah, kind of like
Thank you.
that. Of course.
No.
Oh, actually, you know what? Here, I'll make this even easier. Nope, that's not better at all. No precision still.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna.
And that is in the compile step.
I mean, unclear, but it's on line 58, so it's at create program. It's not compile shader, for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's very strange. I would have thought it was the compilation step, right?
Yeah. Let me confirm that. Oh, you know what? You eyeballed it. You saw it here because it said compile shader. So it is. It is.
And it's the fragment shader.
Yeah.
But not the vert shader.
Guess not. Yeah.
I like how it looks like C and there's a void. It's like void main. It's like nice and familiar. If it didn't have that, we'd all feel really uncomfortable.
Oh, hey, you know what? I forgot to save the file. It works now.
What? That's cool though. I mean, you figured it out, right?
Yeah. Let's get the build up here too. Or I was loading the old build and just didn't wait long enough.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So immediately.
So there's something wrong with Vec4.
Or just the way we're handling uniforms. But you're right. If it's compiling, it should basically just be that.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah. I feel like we've solved a problem. So what have we done? We've done a clear magenta.
Yeah.
And we clearly call that because it's magenta. And then renders nothing. And honestly, it's hard to say because I really don't know if it's rendering or not.
Yeah. I don't even remember what is our vertex. Well, our vertices were like it's a square, right?
It should be a square, and this should, based on what you were saying, this should be half of the screen in either direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm surprised.
But it's not compiling right now, right?
Oh,
Or you're saying it should be drawing right now. Did we actually put a draw call in there? I don't think we have a draw call.
Draw raise?
Oh, we do. We do have a draw call.
Let's make sure that is a thing that exists though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still the real thing.
And what is num items? Okay, yes, that looks correct. And then the offset is how far into the array that we want to do it. And then what's our color that we're drawing with?
The fragment shader should be rendering white.
White.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So they're doing a whole perspective projection thing that we, if God willing, we will get to at some point tonight. But instead, we need to do a little bit more debugging.
Clear color. The depth stuff you were explaining, we don't actually. Do we need to run any of this?
We don't really need any of that right now.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay. Sounds right. And then we run clear.
Although,
yeah.
what did we enable the depth buffer? Is that being enabled anywhere?
I mean, we're clearing the bit, but I don't think we did anything else around that.
Okay, so we're not even using it right now. You see line 4 in the example, enable the depth test.
Ah, there you go.
If we wanted depth buffer, the Z buffer working, we would do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's take a look at how they're setting up their vertices. So this is like a full screen.
Yeah. Do you want to just copy their stuff?
I don't want to copy paste necessarily. I kind of want to understand what's going into this. Because they're doing, this looks very similar. They're binding a buffer to a create buffer. They're
doing a triangle fan, just so you know, and that's a different way of interpreting the triangles. You know, I explained to you what a triangle strip was.
That's correct, yeah.
But it shouldn't be material to what we're trying to do here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they're doing float 32 array of the positions. Yep. Static draw, that looks super reasonable. And then they return the position buffer. So where do we need to keep track of this buffer?
No.
Okay. Why did they keep track of the buffer? Just to draw it?
That's a good question. Well, they're not in a loop. I mean, I guess we could get rid of our loop if we wanted to do that. It seems complicated.
Yeah, I feel like, we have a loop.
Yeah.
Init. Oh, interesting. They never really get back to init buffers or why they care, so fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the triangle winding terminology is. Did you learn about triangle winding in your OpenGL class?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Something about face culling. I think that's what it is.
Huh.
GL cull face. Is that being called in the example at all anywhere? Cull face?
Nope.
Okay. So normally there's what's called face culling. I don't know if it's on by default or not, but the idea is that triangles have a front and a back, and you define what the front is by basically what the order of the what order are the vertices actually being
what order
presented in, right?
Are the vertices being presented? Okay, yeah.
In the array, and you apply the right-hand rule if you're going for counterclockwise winding, and the left-hand rule if you're going for clockwise winding. And what you do is you just curl your fingers in the direction of the order of the vertices, and wherever your thumb is pointing, that's the front, right?
Whoa.
And you can basically tell whether you want to do clockwise or counterclockwise. Why they give you the choice, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just because it makes it convenient if your data is oriented in reverse, and they want to make you reverse everything. Now, if you don't account for that, what can happen sometimes is you could actually accidentally have your triangle facing away from the camera, in which case the back of it's facing the camera and you won't see anything. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I just was wondering if the example got into that.
Right, because you don't draw the backs of things because they're not
Yes.
visible to the camera.
Now I
Okay,
remember
yeah.
what it's called. It's called backface
Backface
culling.
culling.
Yes.
Yeah.
These incantations are coming back to you very
It
gradually.
sounds familiar, and that's so strange that that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I noticed they have all this stuff in here. They just sort of broke it out in a different way. Now, is it weird that we're using this dot context for some of these values? This should be correct, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think basically, I don't know why. I think the context is an instance of probably a prototype somewhere. That's probably how they
Hmm.
implemented it in WebGL. And so I think float is on the prototype.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. We're getting our attribute location. That's definitely the right thing. So I guess the only thing I could think of is it possible our splatting is nonsense?
Yeah, it could be. Or we haven't. Well,
How how does this get away with interesting? Oh, is it because they're taking oh no, this is some different stuff. Do we have to do all this though? Is that the problem? Is
no. I
it
mean, this is a perspective projection.
I guess
Uh,
is it possible we're drawing on the camera such that like we actually can't see through it?
like
Or
is the geometry behind the camera?
or like on the plane, yeah. Like
Yeah.
are we drawing out the origin so it's invisible to us?
That's a really good question. I don't think so, but let's actually mess with that. Let's actually take the Z position, and I believe OpenGL is more negative away from you. So if we do like -2,
Oops.
oh, that hot reload. Look at it cook.
It's trying. It really wants to be there.
Yeah. I can't wait for your new MacBook Air, man.
I'm so stoked.
It's gonna
I feel like I hope you don't have to immediately buy one to keep up on the stream. All right,
no.
that's a lot of pink.
That's a lot of pink. But pink is good.
Pink is good, but
It's not what we want.
it's unfortunately not the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's try positive
okay.
2.
Yep, fair enough. And W is 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that built, so perhaps not.
Okay. It's actually not coming to me why, like how stuff behind the camera doesn't draw. Like what is actually doing the clipping? It may be that the W value is it's like negative or something like that, and therefore it will just clip. I don't know.
Gotcha.
That's actually an interesting thing that I cannot recall ever thinking about very seriously. One thing we didn't do is we did do the viewport call. Okay,
Yes.
line 48. Okay,
And that's not even in this one, so oh, because this is actually unnecessary just because it's the identity for the canvas creation.
yeah.
So
So how do they start in this example?
great question. So they've created context over here. So let's look at that first. Got a GL canvas,
Okay,
got WebGL clearing, and they're only clearing the color buffer bit for what it's worth.
that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it.
I mean, maybe to remove variables, let's go ahead and remove that or depth buffer bit. That was a bit of a premature.
Do one less
addition?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then cool. Okay. That seems to be it.
Okay.
And then they're right onto the shaders. Yeah.
Okay. And then their shaders, their Vertex shader does a lot of complex stuff, right?
They're doing their projection stuff. Yeah.
But ultimately, all they care about is line 4. That's where they basically get that vertex position. And then for every model,
So how does vertex position become a vec4? Because they have they set vertex position. They just write to it. They don't actually even.
and it's a vec2 that they're inputting.
It's
Num
2
points.
It's 2 points.
So
Yeah.
what if we do a vec4 and then try, just get rid of that rest of that stuff.
So how about this? Yeah, that's very interesting.
Oh, you know what it is they do a matrix multiplication, right? What did their shader look like again? Oh, but it is vec4s, right? It is vec4s going in.
It's a vec4 going in. I assume sort of like the splat actually,
Put some default values in there.
like if you do a vec4 with 2 things, you probably get 0 and 0.
Yeah, which is weird. But that's okay. The vec4 is not crashing us or anything like that, right?
No, as far as I can tell, this is fine.
And if you set a breakpoint,
Ooh, let's do
we
that.
might have to
yeah.
use Chrome.
Fair.
And actually, what you're going to want to do is use the debugging launch for Chrome.
Since this gets executed every frame, can't I just break?
Yes, you can.
I can just break in the browser. Let's see if I can find the actual script that is running. Give me the TypeScript. There we go.
Thank God for source maps, eh?
It's freaking great. Yeah. Okay, so essentially, we hit it immediately.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty reasonable.
And what's our aspect ratio?
Oh boy, I haven't used Safari debugger in a hot minute. Some nonsense that is 3, which is correct. Yeah, it's about 3. Our vertices is this array.
Okay.
Seems good.
Okay.
And we bind the buffer. Do the buffer data. Num items is 6.
Correct. We have 6 vertices.
Right, because we have 3 points of the triangle. Okay. And then we draw the arrays, and it should be on the screen.
Okay. And then let me stare at the pixels. Sorry, the vertices real quick. The float 32 array. We've got negative 0.5, 0.5. So that is the upper. Well, no, that is negative 0.5. 0.5 is the upper left corner, right? And then we've got 0.5, 0.5, which is the upper right corner. And then we got 0.5, negative 0.5, which is the lower.
Yeah, so that's the top right triangle.
Yes. Now, if we did, if we were doing left-handed rule, then that would be facing the camera. I don't think backface culling is active right now, but the winding in this is the opposite of what I would expect.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we'd have to actually tell it to call faces, right? That's.
I think so. Let me like if we can just Google like WebGL backface culling and see if there's a default, and if there's not.
The default is back.
Oh, so they are calling the backface then.
Yeah.
And then what is the default? How do I? It's not backface calling, but what is the winding
Oh,
or vertex order? What do you remember the function name?
wait, sorry. Polygon culling is disabled by
Oh,
default
okay.
because you have to turn on call
Enable it.
face. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you need
So,
to enable. Okay, so we're not culling. All right. So it's not a culling problem.
because in this case, we actually should be able to see the back of triangles as well, right?
Yes, in this situation,
Okay.
because we're not culling the backs.
I feel pretty good about our positions, though. We could copy theirs if we wanted.
Yeah, we could,
Um,
and just do the triangle fan instead.
do you want to try that? You want to
Yeah,
just
let's
like,
go for it.
okay, see if we're in some extremely, so let's see. That was down triangle strip.
Oh, they did a strip, not a fan. Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
I expect that first one to have failed with. It's kind of a strange GL error in a second. Yeah, triangle strip of undefined. That's correct. Oh, and you keep trying to break. And this still can't read property triangle strip of undefined.
Did it lose the context somehow?
I don't know. That's interesting. Just let it build one more time with that.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, okay.
No buffer is bound to the enabled attribute.
What? What? Let's see if Safari gives us the same. Safari does not care.
Is the game loaded?
As far as I can tell. Yeah, breakpoint's turned off, so it should be going. This is why I figured I'd bring two browsers to this party, because WebGL.
The reason why I ask is, do we render the playfield?
Yeah, we totally do. You'll just get a pink screen. You'll never get the play start event, but you'll be stuck in like the pre-game state. So it should render.
It should still be rendering, right? All this code is still running regardless of whether or not you talk to the server or not, right?
Yeah, when if I refresh the Chrome one, same error.
Same error. Okay. No buffer is bound to the enabled attribute.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Let's see.
How are we attaching the attribute in the shader to? Oh, it just, I guess the shader just knows to look for the attribute arrays, and we've enabled the array buffer right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the connection.
Yeah.
So unlike the uniform, we don't have to like pull the address of the uniform out of the shader program to set it, which is what we would have to do if we were setting a uniform. But
because we've enabled vertex attribute. How does this get to that? It's just global context.
Yes.
We tell WebGL how to pull the positions.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, bind. Interesting. Do we have like an order problem here? Is that possible? They bind and then start telling it about that stuff.
Yeah, we could try that. I don't think
so either. Yeah.
You're basically saying, I've got this thing called the array buffer, that's index whatever array buffer is. I'm going to bind that to the attribute in the shader.
Mm-hmm.
And then vertex attribute pointer. Well, hang on a second. What is program info for them?
Oh, I mean, it's program info.program is like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're just putting a bunch of stuff on objects. At the end of the day, it all
It's the
looks
same thing.
It's pretty much our stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, what else?
What is their parameters into the vertex attribute pointer function call?
Exactly the same as ours.
Oh, okay.
The vertex position pointer, which they've just put on that variable.
Yeah. And stride equals 0 is some automatic detection. It doesn't mean actually a stride of 0, which doesn't make any sense.
How many bytes? 0. Oh yeah, 0 is used type in num components above. Yep.
Yeah. It'll basically say I'm going to multiply the size of a float times 2, and that's my stride, which makes sense.
And we've got num components type, normalize, stride, and offset.
Are they using a float 32 array for their
They totally are, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, new float 32 array.
Okay, sweet.
I mean, this is so, they don't use the program until after this is set, but like, I guess I really understand. I don't think there's the same linearity of like imperative programming.
There really isn't. I mean, you do want to bind the buffer before you use it for other things, right? So like if you scroll down in our code,
this is where you create and bind it.
Oh, so one thing that's structurally different is that
the buffer is bound before they're using a single buffer that is bound before the program is used.
The other thing that's different is that we're in a loop.
Yep.
And
we could pull. You want to just pull this into the start function?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Because then we can mess with order and shit too.
And then let's also pull the clear code.
Yeah, totally.
Out of the clear. And you should be able to just do the clear code immediately before draw arrays. That's like I think the ordering there doesn't really matter.
Right. This is the operation of clear the screen.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now render shouldn't be doing anything, right? Render's totally empty.
Correct. And in fact, I'm just going to kill it because this is meaningless.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Wait, that's just a hot reload error. Cool.
All right. So I'm slightly pleased that nothing changed. It just means that we didn't really figure out what the.
I'm gonna change that color for a second.
Yeah. Try to convince yourself that things are actually changing.
I really would like to see. Yep. Things are in fact changing.
Okay.
I'm just gonna mirror their strange ordering here.
Yeah.
Did it. Don't know why, but it did it.
What ordering did you change?
I changed two things at once, so let me undo them both. I moved bind buffer above the attribute stuff. So I took bind buffer and stuck it up here before we start enabling the Vertex attribute array.
Okay.
I don't think this was it. That was it. So I put this back down here. Is that really going to be the change? Fuck me, dude.
Okay. I would like to know why.
Yeah, me too. Screw the rest of this. I'm very curious what's happening here, but let's go back to our half triangle in the center of the screen too. I want to see maybe like the thing we intended to show up, which should just be the nice square in here. Bella. Okay.
Yep.
So what's going on here? Let's understand bind buffer. So this is maybe the one to apply buffer operations to from here on out. Are these buffer operations? Like, do they need to apply to array buffer?
So that's the thing that I don't think is true.
Yeah.
Maybe the vertex attribute pointer call enable vertex attribute array. Like maybe. Let's see. I'm reading about enable vertex attribute array right now.
Cool.
I'm reading the documentation. Oh,
So
that's why your browser was gray. You had to Finder open.
there you go. Yeah. Safari.
Yes.
So I guess, Jeff, the reason I sort of like keyed in on this is because this line of code is added, like they bind buffer and init the buffer position before all the vertex stuff happens too. So like they put a buffer that will hold the vertices ahead of this stuff happening, and they've also called bind buffer where they init the vertices as well. So I'm just like, they called it twice. That's the thing that made me feel weird.
I feel funny.
Yeah.
So let me think here. Yeah. If you call enable vertex attribute array, it makes me uncomfortable that you're not sending it like gl.arraybuffer.
Absolutely, right?
Because gl.arraybuffer basically tells you like what thing you're actually doing the operation on, and the fact that you're not passing it into either of those functions feels a little bit funny to me.
I also wonder, did we just get these calls in the wrong order in some? The WebGL vertex attribute pointer method binds the buffer currently bound to GL array buffer to a generic so
okay, yeah, so you have to bind first. That makes sense.
Have to bind first. Okay, cool. Let's look at the vertex attribute. What am I looking at? I am looking at that. I wanted to look at enable vertex. Yeah. I assume this may be.
That one doesn't seem like it says anything about the GL.array buffer.
I'm less clear on what this is doing. Yeah. Okay.
Turns on the generic vertex attribute array at the specified index into the list of attribute arrays. What did we pass in there again? Of a vertex position. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
This still feels weird to me.
I think less weird now that there's an understanding that this is in fact, this needs to be bound because it's like the buffer needs to know what the thing is.
Kinda, but to me, the subject of vertex attribute pointer is a vertex position. It's like the thing. I'm not trying to. I get totally. I get that. Like this is the way it works. I just disagree with the API a little bit here.
That's fair. I feel like we're going to do a lot of that. I guess maybe the other thing to call out is that this is part of their draw scene function, which I assume is meant to be repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
And they felt the need to actually put all this in draw scene versus the constructor.
So let's follow the same pattern.
Yeah. So this is set up in my mind now.
Okay. Let's follow the same pattern.
Cool. So let's see. This is just getting locations. Great. Let's put the clear back in the clear. And then render render just takes all of this essentially.
Yeah.
All of it. Yep. And then program. Okay, so here's the boundary we have to cross.
Interesting. Okay. Let's.
That's
let's
super
just
manageable. Yeah.
yeah, let's just make a thing in the renderer that's just like this dot program.
Yep. Dude, what is the type of this thing? WebGL program. Okay. And then cool. All right, with this build, I bet it's going to come back. Oof. I lost. You still can't find variable program, actually. Okay. Have you ever got the feeling that, like, sometimes it actually just doesn't reload or doesn't save the latest code?
I do sometimes get that feeling.
Okay, great.
I think it might have something to do with my yarn dev debouncing.
Can't find variable WebGL rendering context. What? Sorry, let's go to Chrome. Chrome is fine. Safari is having a moment.
Okay.
I'll just kill that tab. Great. That tab lost WebGL too.
Okay.
That's why it's an experimental feature. Okay, I'm happy in Chrome. I was only in Safari because it gave us that one interesting error. So
it was a noble experiment.
It gave us one interesting error. I liked that.
Yeah.
So this is cool. Our WebGL is actually re-rendering.
I like that our aspect ratio is worked. That looks pretty squarish to me, doesn't it?
It's a square in my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, for my eyes, it looks a little bit taller than it is wide, but I think maybe.
It's not perfect.
Oh, it's because we're not resizing the viewport when you're doing the responsive stuff.
Oh, I see. So when I do this, I should actually get a square back in it. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. And if I do this, I should get a square. Love it. Cool. Yep. Okay.
Nice.
Hey, we have a square.
We have a square.
That was way too hard, dude. I give up. Let's get out of here.
Okay. I think maybe the next step of the way is we have a bunch of squares that are going to have different colors. So rather than having the color be a fixed thing, we need to actually have the color assigned to the vertex instead. And basically all the vertices for a particular square are going to have the same vertex colors.
Now, are we going to go back to the method of setting a uniform, or is there another way to pass that in?
There's another way to pass it in.
All right. Yeah. What you thinking?
WebGL Vertex Color.
Aha.
Applying colors to the vertices. We more or less have...
Oh, gotcha. So it's extremely similar to the way points are rendered. You just do colors the same way.
Yes.
Now, would we want to render all our... This is weird. Do we render all the green squares, then all the brown squares, then all the blue squares? To make the color buffer the smallest thing possible?
You could do it that way, right? Like the API doesn't complain about that. Probably what we could do though is just create two parallel arrays, one containing vertices and one containing colors. And there's just gonna be a lot of redundant shit in there.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess the GPU can deal with that. Yeah. It's only
if we can draw the terrain in the next 50 minutes, it would be incredible, right? It'd be a major issue.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
So wait, our terrain is 4,096 tiles.
Well, what we can do is draw the renderable, right? Like our renderables are just squares, and what we can do is assemble them all together. So it'll be however many squares are that fit on the screen, because we do a visibility check, right?
True.
And then we generate two parallel arrays, one with vertices, one with the positions of the vertices, and one with the colors of the vertices, and we could go from there.
Cool. I guess I was gonna say is 8,000 triangles a super ridiculous thing for a backdrop to be.
No.
But actually, yeah, if we're gonna make like the mountains could be triangles that go up instead of super flat. So I actually see where this will be many more triangles going forward.
You know how I mean, the other way we could do the triangles is we could preload them at the beginning of the level, so it's just giant, like two giant arrays.
Mm-hmm.
That way we're not reconstructing them on the fly. And then we just tell it like where in that array to actually look stuff up, right? I think let's just construct the arrays on the fly and go from there.
Okay. So we do have a renderables.
Yeah. Maybe even earlier than that, let's just get our shader working with color attributes and we can go from there.
Great point. Okay. So I guess our vertex shader. So we've got position and
color. It's another vector.
Yeah. What that makes sense.
I'm not sure what the varying is though. What is the vertex color versus the V color? Are they even using V color there?
Oh, dude, you know what? This
is an output. Yes, varying is the thing.
What we had before was uniform vector color, and what it wanted was low P.
Oh, low precision.
Yeah, that was the missing bit before.
Okay.
Even though there was
a low position float is what, 32 bits?
I guess so. Yeah.
I'm googling here. Varying low P. Loup.
So, what uses is geoposition and V color? These are actually like, this is specific GLSL, just like constants that we're writing to.
I don't think V color is a magic word. I think the first varying in the shader occupies a special position. What does their fragment shader do with that? So if you go down to the fragment shader, FS source probably, they get a varying low PV color. I don't think the names matter.
The names matter maybe between here, and here.
Potentially, yes.
Or it's the first varying, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's either the index of the varying or somehow the linker knows that the names are the same. And gotcha. If it's like a C linker, maybe it does, right?
Okay, so this is actually, so this pairs well with the concept of uniform. Uniform is the CPU sends a value to the GPU and says like, this is it, deal with it. Yep. Varying is actually the GPU takes an array and is just chunking through stuff as it goes and like handily rendering. Okay, yeah, sick.
Varying is a per vertex output of the vertex shader, and then that goes into the fragment shader, right?
Cool.
And the thing I'll say about varyings on a triangle or on any whatever surface is that the value of the varying is interpolated between the vertices, right? So the vertex shader runs once for every vertex, but the fragment shader runs once for every pixel, right?
This is the rainbow triangle thing.
Exactly. Yes.
And interestingly, since we've lost it, we're just getting. I like that this comes through just as a 000 vec4. That's a really cool default. Yeah. Sick.
Well, I think our vertex color is just empty, right? We weren't populating that attribute, so
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like instead of failing horribly, it's actually just being like looks like zeros to me, which is a different way of failing horribly. But like,
I feel like it should be failing hard. This is what we call fail open scenario, right? It's just like I don't got what you need, so I'm just gonna give you something.
Yep. I mean that's how we get our Assassin's Creed face glitch.
Oh no.
Yeah. Just gotta fail open. Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best part though is that like
pardon me.
The scene ends in a kiss. Uh, no, because it's even worse. This is like actually,
Oh, this is the makeout one.
yeah.
Yes. Come to daddy.
I'm really excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Let's just say
That is
that.
very much the kind of Spaniards have restored a classic piece of monastery art. Did you see that they did that again?
They did it again?
Yeah, I think it was a sculpture.
Monastery art restoration.
Spain.
Oh no, Spain. Okay.
Yeah.
Bad. Wait, sorry. Bad.
I think this time it was a sculpture. Who did this? Yet another. If you did that ArtNet one.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Wow. Badly restored. Jesus. I mean, frankly, the same person did it. Is this like is this meant to be a reference? Is this great art
I think
imitating
this,
great
yeah,
art?
this, I think this might be a transgressive piece of street art. Actually, it's like the floodgates have opened.
Wow. What? The statue got COVID, man. All right.
Oh man, Jesus.
Uh, I don't understand. What happened? All right. Oh, cool. Well, on that note, let's put some colors in here. You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm still looking at what low P means.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Uniforms, get out of here. We know what our problem was, and it wasn't that. Let's see. So if I'm to sort of reconstruct this, we will need the attribute location for a vertex color. And do we just need to bind the buffer and do all this stuff for colors alongside? We do. That's super annoying. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So we just create another array. It has the same number of items in it. Okay, yeah, let's do the triangle. Oh wait, our triangle strip thing worked.
I think
by
it probably
accident.
I think it rendered 4 triangles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. It rendered so many triangles that it just didn't matter. Okay, so right. So like num items is actually a constant. Everything we're doing here is working with 2. I feel like
actually, I think that's actually 102 is actually it is actually subtly the number 2. Yes, exactly.
Sorry, you're right. Well, it's what I want is divisor. You know what? It's fine. Okay, so this is vertices, and then we'll deal with colors down here.
Yeah, the color one is ironically going to be larger than the other one because we have.
Yep.
Although I don't know, is it possible to use a default alpha? Somehow I think the default alpha is going to be 0, so we probably want to specify the alpha every time.
Mm-hmm. We could. I'm curious about trying the vec3 splat too. So maybe we can. Let's do the vec4 and then see if we can get that in there.
Okay.
Because I liked that system, and OpenGL seems really forgiving.
Yes. Let us splat everything.
All right, so we create another buffer. This time the vertex is a vertex color. And let's see. Actually, is this now 4 instead of 2 because we're doing
Correct.
4 at once? Yeah, okay. I see what's happening here. And then we don't draw. Oh, rather we draw at the end.
Yeah. So are we binding this to a different value?
We're binding to array buffer to set all this, but then we're doing a different buffer.
How does it? Oh, it's a different buffer. So how does it get both of them? Is my question. Oh, it's because we're doing the a vertex attribute pointer Yes. Okay.
Yeah. We're like we're loading up the shotgun for two different variables on the GPU and then telling it to draw essentially.
Okay. So you know what?
Yeah.
I think maybe the thing that I got wrong
Uh huh.
is that on lines 126 and then on line 130, this .ctx array buffer is not a slot. It is a type. It is saying
Hmm.
create a buffer of this type. And then enable vertex attribute array uh,
Interesting. Yeah. Right.
says,
Because they were just returned two buffers here. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, well, but bind buffer still does bind. It says like this is the current thing we're working on. That's what bind buffer does.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's current, but it's not. I think you're right. It's not a slot. The slot is a vertex color. How to pull colors from the color buffer into the vertex color attribute. So that's what we're teaching it.
Yes. And then I guess there's maybe there's a different sense of slot of like which buffer on the CPU side we're working with, and that's just a global constant. As soon as we call bind buffer, that's the thing that we're currently working on. And then when we call once we call bind buffer again, we've switched it right to a different thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. This is not a very good API. I'm going to put that out there. I think a bad API is when you have to know exactly what order to call functions in, and if you don't, it breaks. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah. I am so in agreement with you right now. Okay, but then draw stuff. So
can I make a slight? Can we rename that array of that's called const vertices? Can we call it const positions? I think that's a little bit better.
Yeah, let's do that.
The reason why is that a vertex is a set of attributes among which are the positions and among which are the colors.
Okay, yeah. I would really like to know why. Okay, well, actually, we should put some colors in here. How many colors do we need?
We need one for every vertex.
Yeah. 6. We need 6. Okay.
And we can do crazy shit, and then it'll blend.
Mm-hmm.
Will it blend? Yes, it will.
All right. Yeah, we can just pick a different.
Yeah, you could do red, green, blue, magenta.
Yep.
Cyan. Whoa, you're getting crazy here.
I am, dude.
I can't handle it.
I mean,
oh man, that's gonna kill us, I think. Oh my god. Yes, beautiful. Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. Let's. I want to understand this more. So the first triangle, you as you were saying, we mapped out our points. We're drawing this way, and this way. Correct.
Correct.
And we've got red, yellow, magenta on those points. That makes sense.
Yep.
And then for the second one, we're at -5x. So we're here, and then we're down here. So we've got
white, green, and blue.
White, green, blue. Oh, you have it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's super reasonable.
Yeah. And so, do you understand that now? How like the varying value is only exactly equal to the vertex color on the pixel that's the vertex. Otherwise, the varying is actually being interpolated.
Right.
And now, to me, the interpolation, it's the thing you want to do for graphics. But for me, I had a hard time remembering that happened because it seems rather counterintuitive, right? It's just like, why do I want to interpolate again? But basically, there's just a lot of fragments in a triangle. You know, there's a lot of fragments between the 3 points of a triangle, and you have to be able to derive the value for some attribute. And so every attribute is actually interpolated over that. So if we had a different attribute that we wanted to use for lighting, for example, because you can do like lighting multipliers on the vertices as well, we would interpolate those. And if I'm not mistaken, we can also interpolate vectors. And basically, what you can have is you can have vertex normals, right? You can almost have, you can define, like, if you have like a three-dimensional shape, you can define what the normal is on each vertex. And if you interpolate the normal to a different vertex, you can almost think of like an arc of vectors, kind of like pointing outwards. And you can use that to define like lighting stuff. So something will appear rounder than it actually is in terms of the geometry. So you can basically have a relatively low poly sphere, for example, which is just a bunch of triangles, as you can imagine. But if you have like vertex normals that you're using to kind of like refract the light, it'll make it look round.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen examples of people doing that before, and it didn't really make sense. I hope it makes.
Right.
I'm gonna have to wrap my brain around that, but yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
By the way, this totally works,
Yep.
and it doesn't when I did it for the Vec2 on the position, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, and now our alphas. This is
I just want to make sure that the number I picked actually does the thing. Yeah.
Oh man, will it blend? It does blend. It blends.
Cool.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you do the same splatting thing with the positions? So do a Vec2.
This is what I just tried as well, and it wasn't having it. So
It wasn't having it. Okay.
This should be 0 and 1, yeah.
Or 1 and 1. I don't really know actually.
Okay, we'll try both.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I knew what the default value was for these. Right.
Oh, okay, that worked. Great.
That worked. Okay, so what happens? What happens? Can we monkey with that z position a little bit? This is what I'm trying to get at here.
Oh yeah,
what happens
totally.
if you 1 or -1?
So let's go negative because I'm expecting that to be further.
We don't have perspective changes here, so it's not going to do anything. But
oh, whoa, okay. So -1 is further, no perspective change. 1 should actually pull it behind the camera, and we shouldn't see it.
that's the thing I'm a little bit unclear about. Like which dimension of a position does it deem to be not visible?
Doesn't care. It's neither.
Okay, so it doesn't care. So I think that's a question that I need to remember what it does. Like, because how does it know to avoid drawing the things that are behind you? You know what I mean? Like, how does it know?
Exactly.
Because everything just gets thrown into this. Everything in the scene gets passed to the renderer. You don't have to do that yourself, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell the renderer all these things are in front of the camera. That's why you have a fancy GPU. I don't want to do that shit.
Now, I don't quite understand why. What is W?
So W comes into play in... Why are we using 4-dimensional vectors for a 3-dimensional position? Right.
I have that question.
Yes. So I don't have the precise mathematical definition of what the W is, but matrix multiplication is a linear combination, right? Is a linear operation. And it turns out that a perspective projection is a non-linear transformation in 3 dimensions. What I mean by that is that lines that are parallel in the absolute sense, when they are projected onto a screen, are no longer parallel, right? You have foreshortening.
Ah, okay.
So that by definition is non-linear in the art sense. It is also non-linear in the linear algebra sense. So you cannot do a 3-dimensional linear transform of a 3-dimensional point and get the perspective projection. So I think kind of what that's saying, I don't know if this is like an information theory thing, but basically like a perspective projection is actually more complicated than what a 3D transform can describe.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
However, a perspective projection that is like flattened onto a screen is a linear transform in 4-dimensional space. Okay? So you take a 3-dimensional model. So imagine that you take all of your 3D points, you add 1 to the 4th dimension as the 4th dimension. That's your W coordinate. X, Y, Z, W, go figure. Um, there's nothing after Z. What do you do? Like,
Right, exactly. You put the ampersand because that's the old 27th letter.
oh man, were you at Chain when I told that story and they didn't believe me?
No, I just saw that on Twitter like yesterday though.
Yeah. So
Shane didn't believe you?
I went to the Freight and Salvage in beautiful downtown Berkeley, and I went to a show with the Milk Carton Kids, and they told the story. They're kind of like a sort of country singing raconteur style band, and they like to tell stories. And the guy turned around and looked at the Freight and Salvage sign that was behind him, and the "and" is an ampersand, and he's like, "Let me tell you a story about the ampersand," you know, because I guess they would say per se when they meant specifically. Oh, there you go.
I wanted to find that. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it's a good ampersand.
It's
too.
a good ampersand. They're good ampersands, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said,
Miss them.
when you used to recite the alphabet, you would say per se when you read a letter that was also a word.
Right.
So you would say per se I, right?
And A.
Per se A, right? Per se, maybe C as well, but C is spelled differently than the word C.
Right.
But the and character, the ampersand, was just stuck at the and after the Z, which is what you were saying.
That's so weird.
But because it is the last thing in there, you said the word and to finish off the kind of Oxford comma ending of the list, right? To be like A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, all the way to Z, comma, and per se and, because you're trying to distinguish it from the previous and, right?
And
so, and
yep.
so and per se and
Yep. It all blurs together.
ampersand. It kind of, you just keep saying it really quickly, right?
So wait, did everyone change us think you were actually making shit up?
So I told the story. This was like peak Chain. It was like Jules, Marjorie, Bob all sitting at a table listening to me talk.
Good
and then
times.
Bob said, after I gave this long exposition, he's like, huh, sounds fake.
That'll show him.
Yeah. I had my comeuppance because I think it was Jules that went back and looked it up because she didn't believe me either. And she was like, you know what, Jeff was right. And somewhere in the East Bay, I was like, yes. And I don't know why.
It must be because like it actually ended up in like a typesetter's library of characters where it's like that's where it went in the alphabet as you put it in the box. So that's where it ended up in children's stories.
There are a lot of characters that we use regularly in writing that we do not consider to be the part of the alphabet for some reason.
That's true. It's one of the only ones you pronounce. You don't pronounce parentheses or periods or dashes, but you do pronounce the and.
You're right.
Yeah.
You don't pronounce the dash either.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point, Dominic.
Yeah, it's like it's a vocal character.
Is there anything else like that?
I don't think there's any other non-alpha characters that we say, which is really weird. It's weird that there's one, frankly.
Even the weird etc. Maybe we say etc. We don't say etc.
Yeah, but that's an abbreviation. That's 3 letters.
That's true.
Yeah. If you started pronouncing ellipsis out loud when you trailed off, you're like and ellipsis, then I'd give it to you.
Yeah, I guess we do say ... but that's almost ironic, right?
Yeah, it's very ironic. I think you should start saying and per says to talk about Z now, because we do say W, X, Y, and Z. So you really need to
W, X, Y, and per se Z.
Per se Z, yeah. Empresses.
We're not going to get all the terrain done today. It's just not going to
It's not going to happen,
happen.
but that's okay. I relived the story I love, which is the truth about the ampersand.
Yeah, I love it.
So okay, let's we've got a renderable,
We've got a renderable.
and the terrain is actually handing us a bunch of recs. This is great. So is given a rect, I want to take. I want to figure out where it goes and push 6 points onto an array, and then feed the buffer into the thing, and then tell it to render. Is that the thought?
That is the thought. And this is actually a very complex mathematical transformation. What I might suggest we start at first is let's draw a bunch of squares with different colors. And maybe let's also use the colors that we've defined
Yep.
upstairs.
Yep. That sounds good. So yeah, maybe
And this is where we can use the splat operator in JavaScript to help us, right?
oh yeah, it's gonna be
It's not actually going to be that performant, so we shouldn't do it for production. But I think for this thing, it's fine.
Cool. So yeah, I was gonna maybe. Well, I guess you were just saying that this is actually gonna be very annoying to convert, but we can probably figure this out. This is negative 0.5. Oh, because this is the transform, right? I'm getting you. Well, okay, we've got one square.
Well, I mean, we could maybe define a bunch of vertices.
Yep.
In kind of real coordinates, I guess, not normalized coordinates, and then you can multiply by the aspect ratio after the fact using a map of some kind. That's one way we could approach it.
Is it? Oh, I see. Yeah, because it's only our y coordinates.
And that's just to make your typing life easier.
Mm-hmm.
Your typing life should be easy.
Yeah, I actually like that a bunch. You're not trying to put everything on one line. Oh no, you're not trying to put everything on one line. Yikes! I'm gonna just die with that, man. Shit. Okay.
Long run, we're not going to be typing typing all of our geometry by hand.
That is correct.
Long run. Although long run, we're all dead, right? That's
long run. We are all
that's
dead.
the economist joke.
You've got me there.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess what you're saying is.
Who coined that phrase? I'm looking it up. In the long run.
In the long run.
We are all
great question.
Dead. Oh, it's John Maynard Keynes, of course.
0. Let's see.
Dom, what's your middle name?
Anthony. You gonna steal my identity?
No, but I think you have a cool. You're Dom Anthony Dergrati. You could.
My initials are Dad. I definitely had that like monogrammed on a backpack as a child.
You did?
Yeah, because like everyone had their initials on their backpack, and mine just said Dad.
Okay, Dad.
It's a real dad joke.
Dom Anthony Dergrati. That could be your like Pulitzer Prize name, right? Like once you're an author on the book tour, you'd be, whatever your novel name by Dom Anthony Dergrati.
Well, it's like it's good enough that you when you're classy enough, people want to say your middle name.
Would you roll with D Anthony Dergrati? That's like Roman style.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never even considered that, but it kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does. Yeah, it's a pretty good name.
I feel like it's very close to having me be called Tony, though. I don't know.
Tony Dergrati?
That's my dad's name.
Oh, really?
That's taken. That guy's a saxophone player.
Does he go by Tony?
Oh, yeah.
I guess Tony's a good sax player name.
It's a great sax player name. Yeah, dude.
TonyDeGrati.com. How did I not know about this?
I don't know. He's dope.
I remember that he was a musician, but like now it's coming back to me.
Yeah, wait.
Quite
he has some like he is a cool fucking guy.
Wait, what does your mom do?
She's a painter.
Wait, you have two artist parents? I guess that makes sense. I like how do you have DominicDeGrati.com?
I totally do.
Fuck.
It's nothing, but I own it.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Yeah, the
I think if we do background
DeGratis are a
music, we
very
should play
artsy
your.
family.
If we do black background music, we should play your dad's sax music and then wait for Twitch to DMCA us,
And be like, nah, suckers.
and then we'd be like, no, that's my dad.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of albums on here, so go to town. I don't think he's actually on this album. You know what? Actually, he totally is. That's hilarious. Wow, they drew a caricature of my dad. That's
So was your dad able to sustain himself as a full-time musician, or did he kind of like have a variety of jobs?
no, he's a professor of jazz in New Orleans.
Oh wow.
Which
At
is
a conservatory?
at the Loyola in New Orleans. So like, there's a bunch of Loyolas. There's a Chicago one, right? A couple others, I'm sure.
Okay, yes.
But yeah, turns out
a good
full-time-
Catholic town, New Orleans.
Yeah, sure is the Catholic
Or at least all the gumbos are, right? All the Creoles.
the Catholic churches are a hot spot on Mardi Gras Day because they have both picketers and anti-picketers all day long.
Oh yes.
Oh, all right. Well, what was I doing?
Which side do the cops prefer?
Honestly, the cops on Mardi Gras are the only time cops are chill. They're like fine. They're totally fine. It's like their day to not be assholes too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's Carnival, right? Like just let go of your regular life. No.
You hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna draw two squares. I made four. Let's just draw two.
Are these verts or what are the oak? Okay, got it.
I was gonna do verts, but like we could. I don't know. We have some options. We could start by like giving coordinates and having a map to verts. Does that sound more reasonable?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe one thing we could do is just start with 4 vec2s or 4 2 element arrays. Those are the vertices of our square.
4 2-element arrays. Yeah.
We can run that through a map where we multiply every second value by the aspect ratio. And we can order them such that a triangle strip will do our job for us. How does that sound?
Now we're talking. Yeah. And native.
What are the primitives that we can send? I think it's just fan strip and triangles. Let's see. WebGL draw arrays. There might be a line mode as well. Let's see. We get points, so that'll draw you a bunch of dots. We got line strip, line loop, lines, triangle strip, triangle fan, and triangles. Cool.
And then let's do const colors equals colors dot. What's our colors array up here? It is colors. Oh, it's unhappy. Square colors is colors dot green. Come on. Am I tripping?
Where did we define that array? Is it in a different function, or is it at the top?
Oh,
Yeah, we got.
it's actually unhappy because I redefined it.
Oh,
Okay, cool. So we've got one square, which is 4 vec2s, and the array of colors, which is a single color.
yep.
1 per square. Okay, cool. All right, so we need to
Positions. We're going to convert that into a flat array of positions and a flat array of colors, right?
yeah. God, the word colors is getting so abused here. Vertex colors, position colors.
Or we could do VCs and VPs.
You know what? I got to start here.
Okay.
Okay, so for
Position colors, vertex colors.
position colors, yeah. What were you saying?
They're vertex colors. Yeah.
Oh, but we don't want to call these vertices. Oh, because they're not.
The vertices are both it's like a blob of position and color.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay.
They contain multitudes.
Cool. For const square in squares, can I get the index with this too? I bet if I do const square of squares. Yeah, now it's a number. Oh wait.
I is a string. What?
Is it because everything is a string?
How about we do for let I equal 0?
Yeah. Okay. Squares dot length.
And I like this because we're indexing into both the.
That's why I wanted the index instead of the
Yeah.
Precisely. Const square equals squares. Wow. Squares I and const color equals square colors I. Okay, so we've got 4 vec2s, and we want to take the second value of each one
and multiply by the aspect ratio. So we could do positions dot push square the 0 index of square, and then positions dot push the 1 index of square times aspect ratio, right?
Oh, the 0 index of square is this.
Well, no, line 102 brings you down to the inner one, right?
Oh, squares is an array of arrays. I'm looking forward to putting more squares in here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Of course. Yeah.
So, and then I want to map across these 4, because this is our 1 index to our one index color.
Yeah. Or we can do an inner for loop. That'll work as well.
We could, yeah. But isn't if I do square dot, oh my gosh, now it's just upset. I should be able to just let's see, and then return in 0 in 1 times aspect.
Yeah, you don't even need the return, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Not in shorthand.
In is a keyword, so we'll maybe want to.
Oh man, dude, this is the second day in a row I've done that. What the hell? V.
P. Yeah, V will work. Yeah.
So let's see. Does map return or apply? It returns, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is right. Beautiful. And then push. Does this take multiples? It does. So then, oh, but we also need to, is there a zip? What would be the kind of like left?
Are you trying to flatten the array?
Yeah, is there a flatten? Is that all it is?
I don't know.
Yeah, it totally is. Cute. And then this should be, I love it. Okay.
So
yeah,
this will totally work. We're going to have to push 4 colors on there as well, because each vertex has its own color. Now it's going to be the same value every time, but we have to repeat ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you want to give the, so this is recreating what we had before. How do I think about it in terms of triangle strips?
Triangle strips will be the same thing in terms of, like, for every position that we push onto the array of positions, we want to push 1 color as well.
This is the triangle strip representation because
Exactly, it's 4.
it's 4 points, not 6. Yeah, okay.
So what I was going to say is that I think doing this functionally the way you've got it is fine.
Mhm.
Um, but if we did a for loop over the vertices of the, like if we did like for let j equals 0, and then j less than square dot length, we could do the color push and the square push at the same time.
I gotcha. Okay. So we're pushing square j 0 square j1 times aspect.
Exactly. And then we could push the color on at the same time,
And
which
then
is
this
just square
is
color's I.
square color's I.
And then this means that we have one loop as opposed to maybe several loops that the map, flat, and dot 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 the splat we're doing before. So
Fair
it might be a
enough.
little bit more economical there. And
Cool.
I think the fact that the color is being pushed onto the array next to the position is a nice kind of like parallelism, right? It means
I
like,
totally
yeah,
agree. Cool. All right. So let's see. Positions, you're gone.
you dead.
And it's replaced. It's already been replaced. It's horrifying, actually. And then this is vertex colors. And this is triangle strip. Num items still correct because we're working with 2.
Correct.
And I forget what 0 is. Offset? Whatever.
Yeah, it's the offset. And then can we take a look at these vertices real quick? So the positions, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
0, what's the first one?
Sorry.
-5, -5. That's upper,
Upper
no,
left?
lower left corner.
Oh, should it be this? -5,
Are you
5?
trying to do northwest first?
I was trying to do northwest. And in fact, it's the same point there twice, which is definitely not going to render.
So northwest is -5, 5, and then northeast is, yes, you're with me here, and then
Yeah.
then
Southeast.
the
And
ordering here is going to matter.
mm-hmm.
So, well, no, I think it's okay the way that you had it. Because basically, each triangle is it's like a sliding window of 3 vertices, right? So you take the first 3, and then you take the next 3, and I think this will work.
Okay. I just want to see what we have in here.
Yeah.
Oops. This is always the same. And we're expecting something that looks a lot like that. Okay. Cool. So it's not rendering. Was there something else I had to do to this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. GL is attempt to access out of range vertices and attribute 0. What is positions? Oh, this needs to be a new.
A float 32 array. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're 64-bit arrays by default. I don't even know.
Probably so. Does that mean I can't push?
Oh, come on. Okay, so what you can do is keep the pushes there, and you can cast it to float 32 array, or like wrap it in a float 32 array.
I was gonna wrap it in
the
there.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what we did before.
Yeah. It's annoying that push doesn't work though.
Yeah.
Fills me with rage. Although what we could do is we could new the float 32 arrays with a length, and then use, rather than doing push, you could just do the direct write.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Vertex Colors was still complaining. Did you see that?
I noticed that. Yeah, I was trying to make sure. Oh,
Oh, we need to splat the color. Yes.
that's what's up. Yeah, now it's better. You should really render now.
Oh, yes.
Everything I've ever wanted.
Amazing.
Okay, so there's not enough colors. That's so funny. Oh, this should be 4 now because we're actually these colors. Oh, you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to just take the alpha out of all of this. I don't know. We don't have any alphas in our colors yet, so
Yeah. Fair enough.
yeah, we'll get there. I really like having this shorthand. I think.
Oh,
It's
and they
pretty
are
clear.
vec3s going into the shader anyways, right? Line 26.
They were, yeah, yeah.
That's
changed.
still surprising to me.
I see 2 triangles that I've rendered badly. I don't know. So is this this is a triangle strip versus a triangle fan? I got a triangle.
So triangle fan uses it uses the first vertex as a center point on a wheel. So if you imagine, like you said, the first vertex is the one in the center.
That means it comes back to it.
The second vertex is one out here. The third vertex is one over here. Draws a triangle. The next vertex is a triangle with the previous vertex and the first one in the list. Do you see how A is the first vertex
And the last.
and the last, and also an intermediate one for every single triangle? Do you notice that? A, B, and C is a triangle. A, C, and D is a triangle. A, D, and E is a triangle. That's what fan is doing.
Yeah. So here's a triangle strip of 4, which also totally should have worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think strip makes.
What's num items again?
What's the what?
What's num items defined as? Positions dot length divided by 2. That should be right? Because positions should have ultimately
Has 8 items in it. So we get 4 points out. Yeah. So okay, so wait. So what we draw -5, 5, +5, +5, +5, -5, and that's our first triangle.
correct.
And then for our second triangle, we take +5, 5.
Oh, this is correct. We just haven't ordered
Yeah.
it correctly. Yeah, this is right.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So if okay, wait, I can almost wrap my head around that because what we want is.
Can we do a tri-strip to actually do a square? We were doing it before, right?
I don't recall. It should be. It's totally. I think it's possible.
Yeah, you basically want the hypotenuse to be in the middle. You want the diagonal to be the middle 2 attributes, right?
Like that.
There you go.
That's a great way to think about what I just did, sort of by intuiting the order. I just had to count them.
Whatever.
in the order.
You rode a horse. I rode a cow. We both arrived across the river. This is my very strained metaphor right now.
It's pretty weird, but I'm digging it. That's super cool. We rendered a tile.
Yes.
This is great. So I feel like I could feed some tiles into this, except that we have a missing like position transform.
Yes. And then we're going to have to be because we're using triangle strips. I'm actually not convinced this will work with triangle strips. We might have to use full triangles.
Can we use triangle fans?
Uh-huh.
Can we use fans? Fans seem good.
We can't use a fan because the fan, like if we put all squares into the same vertex buffer.
Oh. Yeah.
The fan's not going to work, obviously, because like every single triangle has to share the same one vertex, right?
Oh, and we can't actually strip what is the final two triangles here?
The strip will be complicated in a two-dimensional matrix of squares, right? Because like
Yeah.
um uh we know that the hypotenuse has to be shared between every second and third uh vertex, but then like the edges, like the horizontal edge, let's say we have two squares on top of one on top of the other.
Right, like if the last 2 points here specify
We could do a
they specify the bottom line.
we could do a yeah we could do a strip uh if it was one vertical column, but
Yeah.
then going to the next one might be a little bit complicated. Like if we did like we'd have to order it in a very very unique way. Whereas if we did it as just triangles, we could kind of just draw the triangles in any whatever the hell order we wanted to, as long as it corresponded to the colors. Right.
Fair enough. There's no real penalty for that, right? It's kind of a memory. It's a memory problem.
The only penalty is memory. You're exactly
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And that's actually the reason why triangle strip and triangle fan exist in the first place, is just pure memory optimization, right?
What if I was drawing like a 3D model triangles? Like I can sort of imagine why I'd want to use a triangle strip for this guy. Like it's like half as much data to send to the from the disk through the RAM to the renderer. But like I don't care for ours.
But I think they're probably rendered as triangles, I'm guessing.
You think so? Oh, okay, interesting.
Well, the only reason why I say that is that otherwise you'd have to solve like, well, I guess the thing is your graphics program could do some really complicated algorithm to break it down into.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's what my 3D modeler should do for me, is to like spit out a triangle strip. Yeah, maybe.
And
Maybe
then
not.
I am not quite as certain whether it's feasible or possible on a surface, like on the surface of a volume.
Yep.
That is math beyond my comprehension, but there's probably some way to prove that. All that being said, like I think you could you could probably do a sphere as a triangle strip.
Interesting.
No, well, you would still have some redundant vertices, right? You kind of have to have redundant vertices, right? Because if you have like a two-dimensional grid of squares, and you do a vertical strip, when you come back the other direction, you're still gonna have to specify the vertices that you've already gone past, because does that make sense? So
Boy. I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like what a triangle strip
God,
is.
I love that the sunglasses scale with you. It's so good.
Yeah, it's solid.
I actually feel like it's doing a pretty good job here.
Yeah, it's better than I recall the last time I turned this on.
And is it actually? It's basically doing AI to figure out what in 3D space where your eyes are, right? And then it's just like slapping that on top of it.
Does it even need my? It doesn't even need my eyes, dude.
Yeah, it must be your nose.
It's my nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's a combination of things. Yeah, it took it a while to figure that out. It was like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Well, it's like that human lost a nose and then grew it back again. My model does not account for that.
It's 9 to 5. We have successfully drawn squares in multiple different ways.
This is a cube. You just can't see the other dimensions of it. But this
is a cube looking flush down one of its faces.
Yeah, this is 3 whole dimensions. We're coming at you.
Yeah. It's actually like a 10-dimensional cube that we're looking down one of the axes.
That's true. It's at least 4 dimensions based on what I've learned tonight.
Yes.
This is great. I feel like we can get the tile render in here. Yeah, that's super exciting.
This is gonna be so much fun. And soon we will be able to render my background, my Zoom background.
Dude, if the game ended up looking like that, I'd be very, very happy.
I'd be thrilled. Dude, are you kidding? Yeah. Oh, dude, can you imagine? Like you had, and we could even do reflections on the surface textures like that, right?
I mean, can we handle ray tracing in the browser? I don't know, but I'm game.
So we could do that. The way that they do reflections traditionally is they do some crazy shit. They basically render the scene multiple times from a different perspective, and essentially render to a texture and then apply that texture. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense though. That's a very cheap way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Portal had to do that, right? Because Portal had to like when the portal opens, you got to like
Mhm.
essentially render the scene from where the other portal is.
I always thought that was Portal was one of those games that sort of broke the video game wall for me, where I was just like, oh, they made two cameras.
Right.
That's all it is. I'm just like, what a cool idea.
So if Portal can render two worlds basically, or
Mhm.
two views of the same world, we should be able to run multiplayer on our game. Like I feel like multiplayer should be able to work. I
I
might do some
agree.
profiling this weekend. I got tomorrow off. I'll
Okay.
mess with that.
Everyone just needs to buy an M1 laptop, and then their JavaScript will be fine.
I almost bought a PS5 again today because Walmart had another batch, and again, it was the same
Oh,
thing.
oh, you mean you tried to refresh the page and put one in your cart? I did that too.
Yes, I clicked add to cart, and I got the Google CAPTCHA thing. I
Hmm.
clicked I'm not a robot,
Hmm.
and then it showed the thing again. It's like, are you a robot? And it said, I'm not a robot.
Oh,
And then it
Jeff,
showed it again.
I got all the way. I got in my cart. I checked out. I put in my credit card, and I hit submit, and it failed.
Oh,
I was this close.
do you think that they just threw you into like the dev null world? They just like threw you into a version of the web page. You got funneled into that section of the A/B test where they just let you go through, and then they just said that well, this submit's gonna fail.
I think it's something. I think they're like basically just having people. They're like, you know what? We're gonna race some HTTP connections, and like one of you is gonna win, and one of you is not.
So when it failed for you,
Mhm.
did it just say that it's like that item is not available, or like
It took a couple tries. It was like I was submitting the cart, and it was like, sorry, we couldn't. Or I submitted it, and then it kicked me back to like the address entry. It's like try again, and I was like, oh, I know what that means.
for it to fail so specifically weirdly like that? It almost seems intentional, doesn't it?
Maybe, but like, how many? What if I was a website programmer for Walmart?
Yeah.
Would I build the edge case for the item the user's buying sells out between them putting in their credit card and like hitting submit? Like, it's Walmart. They have everything. I feel like the sellout experience is not a.
I kind of wonder. Look, they probably don't lock items for you, right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
So how do they do it? Like, do you think that they process orders in a queue so that they can like transactionally decrement multiple items worth of things?
That's a really good
This
question.
is like a whole e-commerce thing that I haven't really thought too much about. But if it's just one thing, probably when you check out, it's decrementing something atomically, which is an easy thing, relatively easy thing to do from an inventory perspective. When it's multiple
Yeah.
things, it gets hard, right? But for it to say that your address was bad means that when you submit that form, it's actually not only like trying to atomically update some inventory thing, but it's also like trying to submit the address at the same time because they probably did some weird thing where when you type in your address, it's not actually stored on the server side and it's just
Yep.
like in a form variable somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I interpreted that as that I was like inside a single page app and I was sending off a request and getting like a 500 back. And it was
Oh,
just like,
okay,
and it
you're
was
giving them
like,
more credit than me.
well, and that the app was responding very, very incorrectly.
Yeah. Because, like my first web page or my first dynamic website, I mean that figuratively, like your first or my first, we were probably going through multi-page flows where
Yep.
we were just like redrawing variables that we got from the previous flow as hidden form variables or something like that, right?
Oh man, those were some brutal days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was some shit, right?
I
And
remember
so
that.
I'm basically accusing Walmart of directly this type of thing.
I bet that sounds fairly accurate. But I'm glad you had the same pleasant experience I did today of not buying a PS5.
And I was like, we were talking about how I'm trying to reduce my screen time, right? I'm trying to
Yep.
reduce my screen time because I got at least a couple of other like side things I want to do. I want to do a class in January. I want to like
Ooh,
work on this other thing
that's
my
right.
friend wants to work on. I want to work more on this game. I don't need a fucking PS5, but
I
I
know.
like have attempted to buy one like multiple times this week.
Same. Right after that, I was in the Sony queue and also was equally
Oh,
disappointed.
Sony had a queue.
Sony has like they like take their store down and turn a queue on and then let people in one at a time, which is at least kinder than Walmart.
Yes. Are you in the PS5? Are you following PS5 alerts, stock alerts on Twitter? Like, how are you finding out about this stuff?
Oh, I don't know.
What
I
is
think
your what is your hookup?
I think I follow this guy Wario64 on Twitter. There you go. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, so this guy's like the Woj of console releases. Do you know who Woj is?
No, what the fuck? Who's Woj?
Adrian Wojnarowski. He's basically he's like the guy who leaks all the NBA trades, like the minute they happen.
Yep, that makes sense.
And he's like kind of famous in the sports world for like just like this ridiculous arms race of how quickly you can scoop somebody. And so is that what Wario 64 is?
I guess so.
Because presumably that dude has his own PS5 already.
I don't think he does actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think this guy just really. Oh, here you go. I don't know. I don't know what his shtick is, but people like him. He's just like I think he's always posting like deals.
Has he tweeted 204,000 times?
Yep. I bet a lot of it's automated.
Okay, yeah.
It's mostly like something is available and like.
Wait, so you
Yeah.
follow this? This is a lot of content.
I turned this on when the PS5 came out because I saw people retweeting him looking for stuff, and I look forward to unfollowing.
There is
it.
PS5 stock alert. I think it's a little bit less dense.
Stock alert. This one?
No, that's
No.
not the one that I'm thinking of. PS5 alert, just
Maybe it's not digging my spaces.
that looked familiar.
That was. Mm,
Let's see. Twitter PS5 alert.
yeah, you gotta give me your good tweets.
PS5 stock alerts, plural. Yeah.
Hey, nice.
This is what I was idly looking at around lunchtime when I saw the Walmart link. I went there. Are you getting a digital or the disc one?
Digital.
Yeah, I think digital.
I don't buy discs anymore. I haven't bought discs in years. I just don't care.
I have a drawer full of DVDs.
I don't.
What's that?
I don't.
Oh, okay. But I'm gonna get the digital one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
The Blu-ray is like 20% of the cost, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't need a Blu-ray player. I actually would like to get a nice Apple TV whenever they do their upgrade.
Oh.
I find myself
M1
wanting to,
Apple TV.
probably. I find myself wanting to put like computer content on my like a YouTube or a screen share on my TV more than I want to like put a DVD in. So I'd
Yeah.
rather get like a nice screen share solution.
You know what I really need to figure out? Is I need to figure out how to connect my iPad to my Windows machine so I can actually draw the things I'm talking about. Because I feel idiotic just like
Oh,
pointing at vertices and expecting you to know what I'm talking about.
yep. But I was doing the same thing, so I'm with you. But yeah, that would actually be great. We should hook those up.
I wonder how I can do that.
Oh, bro, you can draw on my screen, and I can draw on my screen. We can all draw on my screen.
So,
I should have been doing this today.
So I can zoom in on my iPad as well. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that'd be really cool.
All right, we can figure this out. We figured out how to draw a square in OpenGL. We can figure out how to get my iPad to draw on my Windows machine. Oh man.
Ta-da!
Oh, I thought you were going for a 3D square there. It actually was even better than I thought.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
This is really hard with a mouse. It's really hard with a mouse. It's transparent.
Nice. Brilliant. All right,
Good.
let's go play video games. Or whatever you're going to do. What are you going to do?
I don't know.
If you
feel
were
like
to play a video game right now, what would you play?
I mean, probably Hades, but I feel like I'm done with it, so I gotta come up with something else.
Are you on AC Valhalla yet?
No, I gotta finish AC, the other one, Odyssey,
Oh, I
and
keep
Ghost of Tsushima. I got so many
yeah
fish,
AC Japan.
basically, right?
um,
But you get to chase little foxes.
so have you beaten the first area yet?
No,
Okay.
it's huge.
Yeah, it is first area. It's huge. I saved my uncle. Spoiler alert.
Cool. I figured. Yeah, I saw the trophy as like Save Your Uncle is like pretty early on the
He's
list.
kind of an asshole. I don't like my uncle.
So I remember when they were advertising this thing, it was like betray your code, do what you must do. And I'm just like, man, like, did anyone give a shit if a samurai backstabs someone? Like,
Yeah.
your island is burning and you're upset about the samurai like
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm like. It's like, hey,
not honorably killing the invaders. Like, get out of here.
he's like we need to make sure he's like language before materialism, right? This is the problem with language is important, yes. But you know what's more important? Unions. So if I was to meme this, I would basically I would have some kind of like meme, hilarious meme that presents the analogy of Lord Shimura as liberal, like language liberals, and Jin
Yes.
as oh we got chat.
Oh, hello, chat.
The problem is it's actually a spam chat, but I'm going to shout it out anyways.
Yeah, shout
Our
out that
Gundam
spam.
4569 want to become famous, and it's got all these like circumflexes and glyphs, like Unicode things on it.
I do want to become famous.
It looks actually kind of like Vietnamese because Vietnamese has like little like accent marks over consonants and stuff. Really kind of weird. Our Gundam 4569 want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on clck.ru. Don't actually type this in.
No. I was looking at the giant
Bigfollows.com.
big follows. No, I wanted to see the giant Gundam that they're building,
Yeah.
which is much cooler than this guy. Get out of here, our Gundam 46, whatever.
So if we're gonna, while we're on the topic of doing what you must, I think Jin is like, kind of like the ends justify the means sort of thing. It's like
Yeah.
we're not fucking around here. We're not playing honorable knight, feudal knight. We're trying. This is like a life and death struggle against an existential threat, right?
Right, like everyone lived their honorable values and then got brutally murdered. And they're like, well, shit, I really would like to have the Mongols off my island. I guess I maybe need to like not ask them nicely.
Yeah, and then dude is like, okay, now I'm gonna go and reconquer my island. I'm like, are you gonna employ the same tactics that got you into this situation in the first place? Are you going to run Joe Biden in 2020 using the same tactics that you employed in 2016? No. So
I really liked the side character that was the samurai lady who like lost her family
it
and was
goes on the
like
warpath.
and is like on Jin's side where it's like you should really murder the people who killed everyone.
You should
like,
murder everybody. Yes.
Like she was great.
Yeah, she's awesome. So I'm gonna. This is a very tortured analogy, but should we pay for Twitch affiliate status now that it's a paid option?
Oh my god, I saw that. Isn't that bullshit? No, I wanted to earn that, damn it.
Yeah, I want to earn that, but like we're gonna get monetized no matter what. Like YouTube is already gonna they're monetizing over our stuff. They probably won't because I think in the algorithm we're not significant enough.
I say we have to have that many viewers, but also I don't want to be monetized by YouTube because I assume that someone will get radicalized for the Nazis via our YouTube channel if YouTube is allowed to run the algorithm on it, which is bad.
Oh, is it because the algorithm has no sense of irony? We talk about Nazis a lot.
Exactly. So it'll hear
and
that
they
and
think
be
that
like,
we're Nazis.
aha,
Yeah.
other content you might like.
Yeah.
Try Stormfront. How do you deal with violent TV, Jeff?
How do I?
Can you handle violent stuff?
Are you about to recommend The Boys to me?
I was.
Because you said Stormfront. I did watch the second season of Boys.
It's extremely on the nose.
Yes, I think I enjoyed it. I couldn't tell. I think I liked the first season a lot. And then the second season, maybe I liked less. But I still
more the same.
I still watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very violent. It was incredibly violent. It might have been gratuitously violent, actually. I think there was parts of it that made me uncomfortable.
And yeah, it's. I feel like it has tried very hard to be like comic book gross, but like extremely realistic about it, and it's a line.
I am glad that they kicked the shit out of the Nazi at the end. Did you ever watch Death Proof, the Tarantino movie?
Yeah, dude, that was great.
And the end where they kick the shit out of Kurt Russell? Oh my
I
God.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grindhouse was actually like a really good set
Pretty
of
freaking
movies.
solid, right? Like, I think Death
Yeah,
Proof might be my favorite Tarantino. That or Kill Bill 2.
it's a tough call.
Because of
Yeah.
David Carradine. I really Or Pulp Fiction, you know? I'm not gonna kick any of these out of bed. These are
I
great
know
films.
they're all problematic faves. I really like Death Proof.
Yeah, Death Proof is great. All right, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna run offline and then like kill Mongols dishonorably.
Do it. Yeah, you show them.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, Gundam R follower seller.
Argon
42.
4569. Peace, man. I'm glad you're the only person to comment tonight. I appreciate it. Bigfollows.com. Shout out.